I've been traveling around the country talking to the radio announcers, the church people and the street people, telling them that God has smiled on me. God has smiled on you if you got breath in your body, if he woke you up this morning and started you on your way. But I want to tell you some stories of people that God smiled on. We know the story of Dr. Martin Luther King, how it started way back in Montgomery, Alabama in 1955, trying just to get dignity, trying to get respect. And he went all the way to the mountaintop. But he didn't forget about the brothers in the valley. He didn't forget about those trapped in the alley. And I hear Brother Martin King saying, God has smiled on me. He's been good to me. Let me tell you, God has smiled on me. He's been so good to me. Then I see as Dr. King went on, another man stepping to the forefront by the name of John F. Kennedy, who rose up and said, let's not stand back. Let's not wait for a handout. Let's wait for a way out. He said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. He said, don't us gravel and don't us moan, because God done smile on us. Let me say it. God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Let me say it. God has smiled on me. One more time. I want to say it real slow. I'll say God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Pick it up. God has smiled on me. I feel it. Then I went on by backstage at the Apollo Theater and I saw a man come out. They call him the King of Soul, James Brown. And James Brown said, Reverend, don't you worry. I started out as a shoe shine boy. I started out as a convict. I started out uneducated. But I learned to sing my song. And I sung it all over the world. I told him it was a man's world. I told him about the big payback. I told him Papa got a brand new bag. And all over the world, they can hear my voice. But Reverend, don't you frown. Don't you bow your head. Tell him what you told me, Brother Brown. I said, now God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I want to scream, y'all. I want to scream, y'all. God has smiled on me. He has set me free.
So who is Al Sharpton anyway? Who is this 33-year-old preacher without a church?
A number of black New Yorkers as well. He is little more than a pudgy exhibitionist who can be counted on to show up, bullhorn in hand, at every racial incident.
I often quote Mark Twain saying, the two most important moments in life is the moment you are born and the moment you find out why you were born. I had a very troubling conversation the other day that prompted me to do this little video. Young man that I've known a while came to me and he was crushed. I mean, really crushed, because people were criticizing his work. He's in the ministry, but he's also an actor. And he said he know what time it is. It's Al Sharpton's time. And for the next 3 hours, it's time to put aside all pretenses, deception, denial, or fronting, The time has come to keep it real on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. A very good afternoon to you all across the country. Good morning to our West Coast listeners, and welcome to those listening on Sirius XM. Channel 126, The Urban View, where talk empowers and becomes action. I'm coming to you live from our National Action Network corporate headquarters in New York. And for the next 3 hours, you can join the conversation by calling us at 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797, or you can go on our live stream at www.nationalactionnetwork.net. And already a lot of people on live stream. Darius Miller saying good afternoon, Reverend Al Sharpton. Greetings from Atlanta. Greetings back to you, Darius. Wanda Hodge saying good afternoon. Patricia Wilder saying good afternoon. Darius Miller saying good afternoon. And I saw somebody on from Chicago. George Levette is saying good afternoon from Tucson, Arizona. So people all over the country. Barbara Jean is saying Wednesday afternoon greetings from Chicago. So people all over the country tune in and call in for the national syndicated show, Keeping It Real with Al Sharpton. So much to talk about. The National Guard is on the ground in Washington, D.C. Several arrests were made last night, though they themselves don't arrest. They're there to so-called keep the order and push the local police to make arrests. Now, this is a full-fledged onslaught, because at the same time they are saying that the police department and the local mayor cannot handle the crime, which is not true. Crime has gone down, violent crime has gone down. They're also at the same time now saying that they are going to go through all of the Smithsonian museums, including the Museum of African American History and Culture, and anything that they, the Trump folk, consider I'm trying to use their language, divisive, that has to be removed. So you know they're going to take all of us down that are civil rights leaders that's in the Smithsonian African American History Museum. I'd be very surprised if any of us left up there. And in other museums. This is a complete whitewash of this nation's capital, starting with undermining the black woman mayor in Washington, D.C., Muriel Bowser, saying he may do the same thing in other cities, like Los Angeles, Oakland, Chicago, New York, he mentioned. Interesting. Every one of those cities have black mayors. So I was on Morning Joe the last hour this morning, and I said, well, why aren't the Democrats pushing back saying, well, what about these white cities, and give the data where crime is higher in these white cities? Challenge them. Say, yeah, we're against crime. Let's bring it down. Let's go to boom, 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 Kentucky, or Battle Switch, Arkansas. 85, 90% white. Crime is high. let's talk about all that. Let's talk about the whitewashing of the Smithsonian. Talk about he's on his way to Alaska Friday, day after tomorrow, to meet with Putin. And I think Putin probably is going to play him like a flute. We can talk about that. And whatever else is on your mind and in your heart, we're going to open up the phones and we're going to read from our message board. Now, we're getting ready for the big march on Wall Street in one of the cities that is coming up for the march is Austin, Texas. And Latrice Cook, who's the head of the chapter of National Action Network in Austin, has got a radio show. I'm going to jump and do her show for about 15 minutes or so and get the people in Austin signed up, hopefully, to get on her buses and come all the way to New York for the march. So I've asked Dominique Sharpton to sit in for me for those 15 to 20 minutes. I asked her the other day, and she told me to talk to her agent. You know, she won an Emmy for directing, being executive producer of one of the Broadway plays that they won. It's a Tony, and she won a Tony. So now that she's a Tony winner, I have to speak to her through her agent. And I told her I would have my agent call her agent. My agent's name is Marcus Al Sharpton, who is her son, 6 years old. So Marcus Al know how to handle it for me. But anyway, Dominique is going to take it for the first segment. And let's get this off. I'm joking, of course, on our agents, but I'm not joking about what's going on in the country. This is, you know, many of us talk about where the country could go. Well, it's there. Anytime you can undermine a black woman mayor and a black police department in a majority black town, we're already there. Not talking about what could happen, it is happening. That's why we need to march on Wall Street and everywhere else that there is any cross-section of power, making it clear we're not accepting this and then going forward from there. First, you need to let them know this is unacceptable, that we're not asleep, we're not stupid. And one of the things that has continued to lay on my heart is what all he has done against the black community, from undermining black mayors to canceling things that are disproportionately that we need, Medicaid, SNAP programs, all in all that impact us. There's been no black-led march protesting him since he got in this time. And that's a disgrace. If you never made a march, you need to be with us August 28th here in New York to do the Wall Street March. You can go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net, sign up now, get all the information. If you never been to a march, you need to make this statement. I don't care who you with. Yes, a lot of the unions are coming. Yes, a lot of the church denominations. Yes, all the civil rights groups are coming. But this is not for me. This is for all of us. You don't like me, you ain't got to march next to me. Get way away from me. But let us stand up against what this man is doing. All right, let me bring Dominique on so I can go ahead and do what they want me to jump on the radio line in Austin, Texas. Dominique, you got the first segment or so and take call. I see people jump, OG, Kelly, everybody between the live stream message board and the phones. You got a lot of work to do. I'll be back in about 15, 20 minutes.
All right. Thank you, Rev. Good afternoon, everyone, and certainly good morning to our West Coast listeners. And as Rev is heading out, I'm sitting in the hot seat, and as Rev said, we're taking your call certainly across the country. We got many folks that are already tuning in across the country, and we are delighted to have you all keeping it real with us. So much to talk about, as Rev was saying, and as we are moving through these moments and in this time, and the encouragement, and as we are keeping it real and tuning in and trying to stay active and trying to stay engaged, right, with how we can continue to elevate our voices to raise the alarm that we have things going on, not only in our communities and around us, certainly through things that are happening. But we got a lot of things going on in our families and in our households, and we have to remain vigilant at the end of the day. So I'm happy to speak with those who are tuning into the consciousness and tuning into staying alive and staying woke and really spreading the message of action that we need to continue to do. To really benefit from the progress that we are fighting for everyone. And there are some that are sleeping. There are some of us that, we need to continue to reach for, but we're here, we're present and accounted for. So let's keep it real. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Join me on live stream on the message board, but we'll be right back with more of Keeping It Real with Sharpton. We'll be right back.
Of reference. 400 years later, it's time to do some assessing where we came from. While Alabama, Georgia, and South Carolina, Mississippi take the hits, the real trade market for commerce and cotton was New York. The port of New York. As a matter of fact, Joe, the first state to end slavery was Vermont. It was all the way up the coast. The big shipbuilders became enriched off of our enslavement. Say our people are not slaves, they are our ancestors. They may be slaves to the oppression, but they are our ancestors, they are our foreparents. The money is made off of the commodity. We were the commodity in the commodity exchange. And they would import Africans. They export cotton and tobacco. And they built the whole economic system around Wall Street. Africans, because they feared the Indians would attack the Dutch, built a wall on Wall Street. That's what they named it, Wall Street. The Africans, with logs and trees, built a wall around Wall Street to keep the Indians from attacking the Dutch. So Wall Street was named after us. There's a burial ground on Wall Street, which we should all visit. Those are our foreparents. At some point, they moved us to the other end of Manhattan, which is Harlem. So we are on the same island as Manhattan. Manhattan, Harlem, Wall Street, on the same island. Harlem is right down the road from Wall Street. That's interesting that most of our leaders who argued different cases never quite got to march on Wall Street.
That was Reverend Jesse Jackson speaking at National Action Network's House of Justice in 2020, saying that we ignored dramatizing, putting the spotlight on the economic inequalities, the economic issues of this country by never having marched on Wall Street en masse. Well, on August 28th, 5 years later, we're going to do just that. Because with this big, beautiful bill, which is a big, ugly bill that cuts Medicaid and SNAP, with the ending of diversity, equity, and inclusion programs and initiatives in the private sector, which gives blacks and others jobs, contracts for businesses, making sure we make the C-suite based on our merit and not excluded because we didn't have the family background in a given place, whether it be academic or business. The people that benefited from that are the ones on Wall Street that deal with the stock markets, that deal with the Dow Jones, that deal with making trade off of the decisions of those that supported the Trump initiatives in this area. So we are not this year going to Washington on the anniversary of the March on Washington. On the anniversary of the March on Washington, we're going to Wall Street. And Reverend Jackson, we're going to do what you said. Thousands of us are going to nonviolently but firmly come and say that the dream cannot be deferred by tax cuts for the rich and cutting those out that need food assistance, that need support with health care and other economic policies that have choked the middle class and the poor. August 28, 2025, go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net, get the details. Meet us 10 a.m. at the African Burial Ground and be ready to march. Buses are coming from all over the country. Go to that website or call 1-877-626-4651. No justice, no peace. Stop going through your life like you are a co-star or a bit player in your own drama. No, you are the main star. You're the central figure in your life. What you decide is what is the major thrust of your life. And others may contribute, impact, affect, but it's your life that you're central in. So stop trying to lay the weight of what you do or don't do on others. That weight is squarely on your shoulders and in your hand. And if you want to defer and give your life choices to others, that's on you. If they have any sense at all, they will be so busy trying to conduct and properly guide their life, they will not have time to try to major in your life.
Thank you for joining us for Weekdays Live with Reverend Al Sharpton. Take the time to share this broadcast right now. Tell your friends it's time to keep it real with Reverend Al. Comment your questions now in the chat or call Reverend Al Sharpton directly on air at 877-532-5797. Now stay tuned for Reverend Al.
This is Reverend Al Sharpton. As you watch the broadcast, support National Action Network. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and be involved. You can join, take your membership right online, www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Getting ready to start the program, but we need you to be part of the movement.
Keeping it real. Keeping it real. I'm Dominique Sharpton, Reverend Sharpton's eldest daughter, just sitting in for the Rev. Rev has stepped away just briefly, but I'm in the hot seat, and I want to talk to as many people as we can across the country. We got a lot to talk about and a lot to deal with on Keeping It Real is what we do. So that's what we ask of you. But you can join in on the conversation. Call us today at 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797, or you can join us via our message board live on live stream at www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Good afternoon to all those chiming in and tuning into the discussion via our live stream audience. Rev calls them the message board. Good afternoon, everyone. Certainly dealing and talking about this situation as President Donald Trump has deployed the National Guard into Washington, D.C. And as we are talking about this and dealing, of course, with the ramifications, obviously, of what is to happen and the discussion as the president himself has, emptied that this will continue to other cities where he feels has an uptick in violence and needs, further governing cities that are obvious and under the governance of people of color, cities that he even mentioned New York City and many others. But also in this very same district, in this very same city where he pardoned over 1,600 people who were rioting on January 6th. Very interesting. And the correlation that he has now deployed the National Guard to provide more safety to where he has stated there's an uptick in violence. Seems interesting. But furthermore, we are equipped and need to continue to not only talk about it, but be about it. That's why we are organizing to convene and to show up in big numbers with the March on Wall Street on August the 28th, and doing things to amplify the causes, but the necessity to speak up in this moment is definitely what it needs to continue to be. We need to really, really amplify the resistance and deal with not only holding those who can speak up and get things changed and get things done in Congress, in the House, and the Senate, and encouraging Democrats to really speak out and really, pinpoint what needs to be said and how it needs to be done, because these things need to be rectified right now. Let's talk with Brother Rodney. We call him the mayor of Queensbridge. He's listening to us from Queens, New York. Brother Rodney, you're keeping it real. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Ms. Dominique. How are you?
I'm all right. How you doing?
I'm good. Tell Mr. Marcus Al I said hello. I have a 6-year-old grandson.
Oh,
So
my
just tell
goodness.
tell that little, tell him I said hello, okay?
I sure will. He'll be back home tomorrow.
All right. Just to yeah, God bless him. You know, I have a 6-year-old grandson.
Yeah.
He lives in Virginia with my daughter. So, but I just say they so lovely, man. Lovely when I'm around. You know.
God bless.
It makes me young. I'm 61, but it makes me young. It makes me lose like 30 years when I'm around him. You know.
Oh yeah.
He's like pop. But listen, I'm an Army veteran, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this dude, the Department of Veteran Affairs announced Wednesday, it's setting collective bargaining agreements with most federal unions, and it says it affects roughly 80,000 of the total workforce. You know, I go to the VA on 23rd Street in Manhattan. We're in New York. I'm in New York. So for people around the country that's listening, and I go to 23rd Street, the VA hospital. You know what that means? Like a lot of these workers are like, they could be just fired now.
That's
I mean,
right.
it's a ripple effect, the quality of care we get.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, this clown, like, this dude, right? I don't understand him. Like, what is he doing? Like I said, he's going to get to the VA. I said he's going to get to the veterans eventually. And now he's starting this thing with the veterans.
Mm-hmm.
He never served. He got deferments, never served in Vietnam. He got deferments when he was, now he's starting to mess with the vets. Now he's starting to, there's going to be a problem. I'm telling you, like I think he wants like some Civil War type thing. Like he wants like, because he will start messing with veterans, it's really going to be a problem. And I think a lot of people like they voted for this crap and not knowing that he was going to mess with us. I'm like, how ignorant are you? A lot of people are really ignorant, Dominique, like to what he was talking about for the oil, and like they think he wasn't going to like get to you. You know, Rev talk about all this time. He's like, you think it's not going to affect you, but then he's like, he's picking and choosing. Like you said, the National Guard, like with his power, what he's abusing, he's abusing military power right now. Next thing, Dominique, he's going to declare martial law. He's going to declare martial law in these cities. Watch. He's going to declare martial law. And people Google martial law, what that means. In military cities, wherever he placing these soldiers, he's going to declare martial law. And it's going to be a problem. You're going to have to be in the house before midnight. Nobody can be on the streets. I'm telling you.
It is definitely an election of power, and I feel the more fueled up, this president seems to get, the further, he will go, and, who knows where that ends up. And at the expense of the American people, it is a devastation. But I feel that, those who are equipped to stand will do so. And we will continue to rise up and continue to fight back because we have no other choice but to stand firm. So that's what we're going to continue to do. Now, everybody going to do what they're going to do, but at the end of the day, we got to stand firm and stand strong because we are really, really, really in for it. Thank you so much, Brother Rodney.
I'm rolling with the Sharptons. I'm rolling with the Sharptons.
We rolling with you. Thank you, Brother Rodney. We're keeping it real. You can join the conversation 1-877-532-5797, or you can join us on the message board live stream. But we'll be right back. More of Keeping It Real with Sharpton. We'll be back.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars.
Anyway, who is this 33-year-old preacher without a church?
A number of black New Yorkers as well. He is little more than a pudgy exhibitionist who can be counted on to show up, bullhorn in hand, at every racial incident.
I often quote Mark Twain saying, the two most important moments in life is the moment you are born and the moment you find out why you were born. I had a very troubling conversation the other day that prompted me to do this little video. Young man that I've known a while came to me and he was crushed. I mean, really crushed, because people were criticizing his work. He's in the ministry, but he's also an actor. And he said he couldn't understand why people were jumping all over, criticizing him, trying to find scandalous and derogatory things about him. And I told him, I said, you know, you very young. You don't know the road I've traveled. They called me everything but a child of God.
A blabbermouth, a loudmouth, too flamboyant, an agitator, a racist,
I
a race
had to
baiter.
learn.
Yeah, right.
I was not defined by how others saw me. I was defined by how I saw myself and whether I was being true to myself. Some of you watching this don't like me. And it doesn't matter as long as I know what I'm doing. And I like me for being real. So I'm doing this video to say to you, whoever you are, and whatever you do, you may not be in ministry or social justice, none of this stuff, but don't live your life worried about opposition or people that don't like you. You can turn that around. Use me as an example. The same people that called me a scam artist, a con artist, a sellout, or racial hustler and all, I kept going. And the people I respected started respecting and publicly embracing my work.
When Coretta Scott King, the widow of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., had this to say about Al Sharpton.
A leader who has protested injustice with a passionate, unrelenting commitment to nonviolent action in the spirit and tradition of Martin Luther King Jr. And I am talking about your leader, our leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
The other thing that hasn't changed is the National Action Network's commitment to fight injustice and inequality here in New York City and across America. And that's not only a testament to Reverend Sharpton, it's a testament to all of you who are here tonight.
First and foremost, to Reverend Sharpton. I saw him when he first came on the scene, and I have marveled at his tenacity, at the development of his intellect, and his devotion to our movement, and much he has contributed to the world we are experiencing. I am honored, and I must say that when I had my debate with Dr. King on the issue of the church and religion, he didn't warn me that after his departure, his space would be filled by another preacher, and that preacher would be Al Sharpton.
All you want in life is people that matter to you to say you did all right. And more important, that you can look in the mirror and say you did all right.
Thank you, Rev. Thanks for that introduction. Look, we've known each other for a long time. I'm grateful not only for your leadership and partnership, but quite frankly, more importantly, for your friendship. And thanks to all of you, members of our nation's most important civil rights organization.
You have been, over all of your years, such an extraordinary leader. You are a voice of truth, a voice of conscience, a voice of practicality around what we must address and what we can do. And I thank you so much for your friendship.
I remember that most of the youth around Al's age, he was about 12, wanted to be like Connie Hawkins, a great basketball player, legend, or Earl the Pearl, or Clyde Frazier. Al wanted to be like Adam Powell, a powerful preacher with a social justice gospel. He was very close to, at that time, to Reverend William Augustus Jones, powerful preacher and social justice advocate, and Reverend Gardner Taylor State right down the street, and Bishop Washington, whose church he came from, and Reverend Sandy Ray. He wanted to be like these giant preachers. He wanted them to have the edge, however, of the King's social justice dimension. He wanted to be like them, now he's one of them. Perhaps taller than most of them because of the risks he has taken and the reward God has given him with his gift. I remember so well that I first escorted him to jail. He was around 13 years old with the jail fighting the ANP. He was in the lineage of our struggle. He grew up in it. We didn't just see him on TV one night. He didn't happen. He came bottom up, not top down.
Thank you for joining us for Weekdays Live with Reverend Al Sharpton. Take the time to share this broadcast right now. Tell your friends it's time to keep it real with Reverend Al. Comment your questions now in the chat or call Reverend Al Sharpton directly on air at 877-532-5797. Now stay tuned for Reverend Al.
This is Reverend Al Sharpton. As you watch the broadcast, support National Action Network. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and be involved. You can join, take your membership right online, www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Getting ready to start the program, but we need you to be part of the movement. Be aware that the closer you get to serving your purpose, the more focused you are on your purpose, on your assignment, the more distractions will come up to attempt to get you off course. Now, I'm not certain whether these distractions are from the evil spirits or demons around us, or whether it is God testing us. But I can assure you, distractions will come the closer you get to focusing totally on your assignment. Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. Let me thank Dominique for sitting in for me as I did Iron Sharpens Iron, one of our leaders in National Action Network, the head of our Austin, Texas chapter. Latrice Cook hosts that show and wanted me to come on and make the appeal to the people in Austin, Texas about getting on the bus and being here in New York for the March on Wall Street 2 weeks from tomorrow. And also, let me urge all of you to watch Politics Nation with Al Sharpton every Saturday and Sunday. And it is important because, let me give you a immediate example. This week alone, we've seen Trump send the National Guard in and take over, literally, the police department in the, I started to say city, but Washington, D.C., they don't even give city status, in the district of Washington, D.C. We also see he's going to Alaska to meet with Putin. So by the time we get to Saturday and Sunday, when I'm on both days, 5 p.m. Eastern, you need to know from people that have expertise, that are involved in these things, what is really going on. That's the value of me doing these Saturdays and Sunday shows at MSNBC. Because at the end of the week, I can say this happened. Now, Senator, what is really happening in the room? Congressman, why did y'all do this, or why didn't y'all do this? Because I'm constantly asking these Democrats, why aren't y'all doing more? Why aren't y'all being more aggressive? And I think that it is important. You just make it friends of mine tell me, they just make it a habit of every Saturday and Sunday watching Politics Nation, because they know I'm going to deal with the issues and deal with it candidly, and the issues that deal with us. So, a lot of people get TV showing I'm whatever. I'm dealing with everything worldwide. I have a global reputation. Well, I have a global reach, and my reach is to stand up for people that have been ignored on the globe. Like right now, we are inundated with only parts of the world that's suffering. I'm against all suffering. I think it is a human disgrace what's going on in Gaza. But I also think it's a disgrace what's going on in Sudan, and that's being permitted, and Chad, and Haiti. And people don't want to talk about it because that's not acceptable causes. Well, I've lived my life as an activist fighting what has been considered unacceptable and forcing it on the table. to be acceptable. You're going to deal with it or not. So watch Politics Nation with Al Sharpton live at 5 every Saturday and Sunday. Also, if you're in the New York area, come see me, come be with me at Saturday Action Rally at the House of Justice, 145th Street and Lenox Avenue in Harlem. And I'll be there this weekend looking for you if you're in the tri-state area. If you're not, you can watch it live at our live stream at www.nationalactionnetwork.net, or you can watch it on Impact TV. Impact Television is the only black-owned national black gospel station network seen all over the world. You know, that's another thing I think that we have gotten away from, is that supporting our businesses, supporting our people that give us the communications networks that we can talk to each other about each other and where we're going. When I got a call over the weekend to talk to Kathy Hughes, who owns with her son Urban One, which is, radio, TV, and social media. And when I was growing up, you had 40, 50 people on the stations. I remember when I was a kid and first got around James Brown, he owned 3 radio stations. Now with technology going another way and minimizing a lot of the voices of radio, we lose the ability to communicate with each other. Oh no, real Mal, I can get on my Instagram, I can get on my YouTube. Yeah, but they got to know to go to you. When we had radio stations, like Kathy Hughes still has some, or when we had forced TV shows, we would get people who did not even know to go to us. I'm talking about in our own community, but they was on the station. So there is the advantage of social media, because you can mobilize and energize the people that are with you. But the disadvantage is if people don't know to go to you, they will never be touched by you. And these streams are owned by people like Elon Musk, who are not in our interest. Let's go back to the phones and our message board. Let's go to Ron in California. Ron, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Well, it's you who keeps it real, Reverend. I appreciate your programming and the fact that you're conscientious, you think well, and you're bringing the presentation forward. So I'd like to just mention what's going on in D.C.
Go ahead.
To me, is a forerunner, sir, to this man capitalizing on martial law where there'll be no elections. And one thing I'd like to point out, I go back to the 80s studying and presenting programs that generally were free to the public, that focused on homelessness and hunger. And in the 1980s, 50% of the homeless were veterans. In 2025, the average is 50% of the homeless are veterans. What happened to the commander-in-chief in taking care of his people? The president has no vision in the area of reality.
Wow.
I wonder, sir, what do you think, sir? How do we deal with this?
I think that you're saying something that is absolutely right and critical, because how do you say that the president's a patriot and he would do that to veterans? I think that you're absolutely right. It needs to be, in many ways, addressed even louder and stronger. Thank you for your call. Alice Cole sending me on the message board. Alice Cole is saying, good morning from California. May God bless you. Well, bless you, Alice Cole. And Tanya Stovall says, I totally agree, Kelton Scott. The country is on a decline and quickly headed for a depression. unfortunately, I agree with you and Kelton. That is exactly where it seems to be headed. Rich Chris is saying Trump is setting things up to roll over his presidency into a third term like Netanyahu. He's creating a war scenario with these cities so that Congress can go along with him declaring martial war. Well, I think that is not beyond not only the possibility, but beyond the capacity for the way Trump thinks. The question, though, that I would raise is how we think and what we're going to let him get away with. That's the question. That's why we're doing the march on the 28th, and we'll be doing follow-ups from there and organizing, mobilizing people. Don't ever forget now, Eisenhower and Kennedy didn't change their mind about segregation. It was the marching and the sit-ins and the movement that changed the climate of the country that they had no choice but to change. So we can't sit around talking about what they think. It's a matter of what we think are going to do about it. Act based on thinking. Waiting for the I'll go rankings. For a state as red Republican as Indiana. And I think that it is absolutely outrageous what they're doing to their own people, their own supporters. The mayor, Rodney Jones, he was on before I came back on, but Rodney's writing, Rev, makes you think that those in power like the UN and The Hague are intentionally neglecting Haiti and Africa dealing with genocide and lawlessness. I believe those entities are complicit. Well, I think you raise a good question, Mr. Mayor, but what I'm more concerned about is not what they're thinking, what we thinking. And are we being complicit with our silence, with our non-activity? You know, like not only should we be marching on Wall Street the 28th, we need to be talking about marching on the UN about Sudan. Why have we become so complacent? I think the fact that we had a black president and a black vice president was good, but a lot of us got complacent and stopped agitating and stopped organizing. We thought that was the end goal. No, they were not the end. They were the means to the end. And the end is making sure we all have equal protection under the law, equal opportunity, equal business opportunities. They should have been the means to get us closer there, and in some ways they were. But some of us saw them as the end. Well, we got black president now, things ought to change. No, the opportunity for change is better. We had to do a lot to help him get the things he did get. Same thing with Kamala. And I think a lot of us just sat down and started resting on our laurels. And now the result is you got somebody that you better not sit down because you might get up and it be too late. Let's get ready to take our break, and we are coming back. More of you on the phones and on the message board, 1-877-532-5797. Sharpton, keeping it real. Be right back. ministry to entertainment? Or who can hoop the loudest? Who can run around the pulpit more? Or who got the dresses fancy and don't deal with the ministry? Jesus healed more people than he preached to. Because there is in the healing your message. They followed Jesus because he healed a woman with the issue of blood. They followed Jesus because Jesus saw a blind man named Bartimaeus. A lot of us would have dismissed him because he was a broke, poor, homeless, a blind man. How you know he was broke, Reverend? Because they say he was begging. But he understood what he was doing because he heard that Jesus was passing by. And when Jesus got close enough, he said, Jesus, son of David, come see about me. They kept telling Jesus, let's go, look, we got a schedule, we got people to see. He said it again, Jesus, son of David, come see about me. And when he did it the third time, Jesus stopped and went and healed the blind man. Now, what I get out of that scripture, Bishop Daughtry, is that the blind man told Jesus, if you are who you say you are, you're going to stop and see me. And if you stop and see me, you will confirm who you are. But when we are pastoring and leading in communities with bad health, we cannot be the followers and representatives of Jesus and walk by people that are sick and we not be part of making them well.
Rev, you know you were right there
from the beginning
with the stuff that was going on in Brooklyn at that time, at Howard Beach. You were right there.
He had in one of the early movies, he had my name. Then he put me in Malcolm, and I wasn't even old enough to know Malcolm. So we've been through it all.
For those who see Malcolm X, it's 3 hours. But fast forward to the scene yourself. Bobby Seale.
Right. Bobby Seale, Denzel, and me.
Yeah.
Denzel was on the set.
Now, let me ask a question. What was your weight on that scene?
I probably about 270. I was bigger then.
Yeah.
Still had the hair, man.
Yeah, you had the hair on.
Yeah, it was
Denzel, yourself, and Bobby Seale.
Yeah, all in one scene.
And also, there was no cut, so we went like this.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Only Spike could have done that.
It's my brother right here.
My baby.
Brooklyn's in the house.
Yes, sir.
Brooklyn's in the house.
BK.
It's been a long time coming, but I'm
1968. Dr. Martin Luther King was killed in Memphis, Tennessee. And it has been the commitment of National Action Network to always, in the month he was killed, to let them know they killed the dreamer.
Because I have a dream today.
They can't kill the dreamer. I had a thought this morning that I want to share with you about mentorship. I am able to do a lot of what I do because I had great mentors. But there are correct ways and incorrect ways to mentor people, in my opinion. I was mentored as a boy preacher by Bishop F.D. Washington, one of the great Pentecostal preachers of his time. Then Reverend William Jones, who became my pastor after Bishop Washington died, who was unquestionably in the top 5 black church ministers, theologians. Reverend Jesse Jackson, who I started my activism under his leadership, he and Reverend Jones. And I learned politics directly as a youth director from Shirley Chisholm. So even though I didn't finish college, I had the most unique education in the world from being exposed to giants. But the one thing I learned is as I grew older and people started coming younger than me and wanted me to teach and mentor them, the magic of the mentors I had is they did not want me to be their clone. They wanted me to learn things from them and use my own gifts and talent in my own unique way and let me do things on my own, because they knew that if I flopped in some things, it would teach me for the other things. They'll come and help me once I was down, but they were not going to have me avoid being down. And they were not going to impose themselves on me. Why am I saying that? Because too many mentors want clones. And too many mentees want their mentors to put them on a pedestal. Oh, so-and-so didn't do this for me. Oh, so-and-so didn't open doors for me. If they got to open doors for you, it may mean that they knew you weren't ready to go through those doors. Their job is to prepare you. Your job is to develop your own skills, your own unique ways. And I don't care if it's my daughters, who both have come into their own, or anyone else. I'm not a talent agent. I did not form National Action Network to give people their step up. I formed it to fight for justice for everybody. If talented people get in, it's my job to invest and give them a platform. It's their job to get on the platform and perform and show their ability. Sitting with me today in the office as I talk about it is one of my mentees, Reverend Stephen Marshall. Now, Stephen, you just came around us when you were how old?
11 years old.
11 years old. You just turned 40 and now you're called to the ministry?
Yes, sir.
And what do you do in National Action Network?
I formulate policies, lead in various regions, but most importantly, I senior advisor to you on all things from social justice strategies, politics, intergovernmental affairs, you name it, community organizing, all of that stuff.
And I could go through scores of others. My daughters started Huddle. They got Huddles now, which is for young people to meet once a week all over the country. I just saw the video from the Las Vegas National Action Network chapter. Now, when you decided to preach, did I ever tell you to become a preacher?
Not one time.
Who called you to preach?
The Lord.
All right. And did I say go to this school or that school?
No, sir.
Did I open this door, that door? Did I tell you be ready when the door's open?
Always be ready and prepared.
And that's what I'm saying. Get you some young people than you that you can help along the way. But don't be their talent agent. Their talent must speak for themselves. And anybody that grumbles with you about so-and-so didn't do something for them, maybe it's because they didn't feel you were ready, or that they felt if they did it, you wouldn't do it on your own. But we all don't live forever. I want the next generation to speak of me, of National Action Network, and others, the way I speak of Reverend Jones and Bishop Washington and Shirley Chisholm and Reverend Jackson. But I just don't want young people to feel that somebody ought to give them the reins of leadership or give them the reins of business or whatever it is you're in. You need to learn from their journey, get the pearls of wisdom from them, but don't have them do for you, because then it means you can't do it for yourself. Keeping it real. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Or you can go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and go to live stream and hit our message board and I'm getting a lot of message board people today and calls on the air, and that's a good thing. I want our community awakened. When I got off Morning Joe this morning, a couple of people were calling me about other things and said, and by the way, I listen to your radio show every day, and I am encouraged by that. As I've been talking the last couple of weeks, Martin Luther King III and I, every 5 years, have a commemoration of the March on Washington. And in 2020, we had it and brought over 200,000 people to Lincoln Memorial in Washington. It was the year of George Floyd being killed. It was the year of Ahmaud Arbery and Breonna Taylor. 5 years later, now we're in 25, we said every year that we do this in coalition with the 8 legacy organizations. There are a lot of activist groups. We respect them all, work with them all, but legacy organizations that represent decades, past the test of time. I'm honored to be just one of them with National Action Network. And we have them come and speak and are part of it and rally their troops, because this is not a Martin III march or an Al Sharpton march. This is about the issues. And one that is a leader in the legacy organization space, but I can say is one of the true soldier leaders, women that have really, really been there in the trenches. I've been with her to the White House, and she's no different sitting in the White House talking to the president than she is at a rally at DuPont Circle. She's the real deal, and I'm talking about she's the president and CEO of the National Coalition of Black Civic Participation, Black Women's Roundtable, and one of the co-chairs of the March on Wall Street on August 28th with Martin and I, the one and only Melanie Campbell. How you doing, Melanie?
How are you doing today? It is good to hear your voice and be in community with you.
It's always good to hear yours. Before I get into the march, tell me how you and your organization is reacting to this whole Washington, D.C. Takeover by Trump and the federal government.
Well, Rev, heard about it. I'm on travel, and I'm here with the former First Lady, Cora Masters Berry, who's been organizing really to focus in on making sure that our children are safe, making sure that our communities are safe, and understand what they need to do to protect themselves. That's number one, because when they're going into our neighborhoods. From a national perspective, we know that this is and from a civil rights perspective, we know that this is about continuing to amass power to really live in a dictatorship, right? And so if you can do this to Washington, D.C., what they attempted to do with taking over, attempted to take over law enforcement in the city and really terrorize people, right, and put fear into people so they can continue to do things that are really not lawful, take over. And every city that he mentioned in his press conference was a city run by black people,
right?
Many of them by black women. So we understand that this is a playbook to amass more power, even if it's against the law, where if you are the king, if you are the dictator, then you don't follow the law. You make the law. And so we're really at an inflection point, and I appreciate what you've been doing and saying out there with all of the purchase that you have to put the word out, that we have to really pay attention to what's happening in this country. And that everybody's got to play a part in trying to save this democracy. As flawed as it may be, we cannot allow ourselves to live under dictator.
Absolutely. And at the same time, you've been involved with dealing with the question of the Texas redrawing of the districts, the congressional districts. As you know, I did a panel up in Martha's Vineyard Thursday with Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett and Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley, and nobody has pushed black women more for empowerment than you have. You're unmatched in that leadership. And they're concerned because they can redraw the lines and draw Crockett's seat out, the rest of them out. How insignificant is that as president of National Coalition of Black Civic Participation? This is extremely right down your lane.
Oh, most definitely, because what Texas has done this before, and they did it in after the last census, right? But this time they're going even further in what they're attempting to do. And really, at the end of the day, it is about taking over and the whole electoral process. What they're doing in Texas is to be able to. It won't stop there, right? And then think about what took place after the last presidential election with the insurrection, right? They want to take over and stop the count, right? They didn't want the election to be certified. So imagine if you can control who is going to be there, because I think folks are thinking beyond the immediate, but they're thinking about 2028.
Right.
And back to today, to be able to say, okay, if we are able to control who gets elected, we also control, if depending on who wins or who loses, well, we just won't certify. So the current occupant of the White House could just stay in there. I mean, I'm thinking that in that vein, where they're going with this, and this man better than anybody I know, right? So when he says something, it may seem like on the side, but he said the last election, you won't have to vote again.
That's what he said.
Well, if you're able to control the apparatus of elections on a federal level, you will control them on a state level, and eventually even on a local level. So the reality of you won't need to vote again is something we have to just really make sure that we're not being paranoid, but just really understanding just how deep this goes. And then it's not just the man; he's the operative in it, and that there is a whole group of people in this country who want to make sure that only a few people control this nation, and they have to put all the things in place and put in a dictatorship or fascist state, whatever we want to say, where one man controls it all or one party controls it all, then so be it. And at the end of the day, I also believe that you want a certain white male to be at the top and everybody else be damned.
You are one of the co-chairs and rallying people with us on Wall Street on the 28th of August, as you have every time we've commemorated and around an issue on the 28th. Tell people why it's important they meet all of us for this march on Wall Street on August 28th.
Yes, and Rev, thank you. I remember when you made the announcement in April, right? I put it on my calendar right away.
You did.
Because what Wall Street symbolizes, in many ways, the wealth gap. What it represents, especially for Black and brown communities. The corporate profits that are made on Wall Street really affect the average person, even though they don't realize it sometimes. And so I think when we think about the March on Washington that we are going to be commemorating by going to Wall Street, well, we march about jobs, freedom, jobs and justice, right? And we're there now because it is about the economic justice. And I think Wall Street epitomizes, in many ways, the injustice of what's happening, right? When the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. So I think being able, and then also there's a history, right, of Wall Street and the history of Black people in this country, right? Folks being able to go to, take that symbolism and really lift up what's happening right now when it comes to our economic freedoms and economic opportunities, with the attack on diversity, equity, and inclusion, where corporations are capitulating. I think the timing is in divine order.
Well, we try to stay in divine order because this is a spiritual movement as much as it is anything else. And I'm so happy to be shoulder to shoulder with my sister, leader, advocate, Melanie Campbell of the National Coalition of Black Civic Participation. You tell First Lady Cora she'll always be the First Lady to me. You give her my love and regard.
I will.
All right. Thank you for being on.
And looking forward to doing it.
All right.
And thank you for your leadership and doing what all you do, Reverend.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's get ready to take our break. I'm coming back and opening up the phones, 1-877-532-5797. Sharpton, keeping it real. Be right back. Yeah, I just got text from
Thank you for joining
David.
us for Weekdays Live with Reverend Al Sharpton. Take the time to share this broadcast right now. Tell your friends it's time to keep it real with Reverend Al. Comment your questions now in the chat or call Reverend Al Sharpton directly on air at 877-532-5797. Now stay tuned for Reverend Al.
This is Reverend Al Sharpton. As you watch the broadcast, support National Action Network. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and be involved. You can join, take your membership right online, www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Getting ready to start the program, but we need you to be part of the movement. For 90 days, they're going to do a study of what companies have pulled out of DI and what companies have a small margin of profit. And we in 90 days are going to announce the 2 companies that we're going after. And we're going to ask everybody in this country, black, white, brown, gay, straight, woman, trans, don't buy where you are not respected. Donald Trump can't make us buy your stuff. The Senate can't make us buy your stuff. In the name of Dr. King, we're going to do what Dr. King did. Trump tweeted the other week, I'm a con man. Don't call me the coin man. I'm going to stop the coins from dropping in the wrong place. Do I seem excited? I am excited because this Saturday, the National Action Network Saturday Action Rally starts live on WBLS 107.5 FM in New York. We're going to expand. Every Saturday morning, we're live on WBLS 107.5 from 10 a.m. to 11. You'll hear the message. You'll feel the energy. You'll be involved. You won't be sitting around talking about, oh my God, look at what's happening. You'll be involved in dealing with what's happening. I'm excited, and you should be excited too. Turn on WBLS 10 a.m. every Saturday morning. I have a message for you. And if you want to, you can come to the House of Justice and be there live. 145th Street and Lenox Avenue. We kick off at 9, and we don't stop until we deal with getting our people energized. I want everyone, if you're resolved, to just raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name, Al Sharpton, do solemnly commit that I will stand up and rise up in the name of Dr. King, in the name of Frederick Douglass, in the name of Rosa Parks, and I will defend equality for all, diversity, equality, inclusion, women's rights, LGBTQ rights, immigration rights. I commit, I take this oath that I will not become like those I'm fighting. I'm not for violence. I will peacefully stand against those that want to bring us down. I commit this in the house of God, on this sacred ground. So help me God. Congratulations. that DEI is a result of those that by law and later by enforcement would not deal with diversity, would not deal with including people of color, gender, sexual orientation, as well as disabled. And the conscious effort by government and the private sector to begin to equalize the opportunities of this country was something that makes it more humane and fair for all of us. To DEI diversify. It's not based on the lack of merit. We could not show our merit because we were extremely pompous conservatives that talk about we want a society based on merit. Well then, if it's based on merit, then why did you discriminate based on race and gender? Until they cut off much of the population and then had merit between white males. That was what they meant, not merit. Let's have real merit, but let's also make up the ground that those of us with merit was not able to compete.
I want to ask you a question, and that is, what is in your life's blueprint? This is the most important and crucial period of your lives, for what you do now and what you decide now at this age may well determine which way your life shall go. And whenever a building is constructed, you usually have an architect who draws a blueprint. And that blueprint serves as the pattern, as the guide, as the model for those who are to build the building. And a building is not well erected without a good, sound, and solid blueprint. Now each of you is in the process of building the structure of your lives. And the question is whether you have a proper, a solid, and a sound blueprint. And I want to suggest some of the things that should be in your life's blueprint. Number one in your life's blueprint should be a deep belief in your own dignity, your own worth, and your own somebodyness. Don't allow anybody to make you feel that you are nobody. Always feel that you count. Always feel that you have worth. And always feel that your life has ultimate significance.
5797 532-5797. Let's go to Atlanta, Georgia, to James. James, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Yes, Reverend Sharpton.
Yes, sir.
Reverend Sharpton, Yes, sir. May I just comment on the 2024 election court date that is coming up in New York regarding the Rockland County, New York case? The next court date is on the 29th, I believe.
Explain to everybody what the Rockland County court date is about, because a lot of people around the country may not know.
There was a lawsuit that was filed regarding the results in that county, which possibly expands out to the entire country, the presidential race as well, in which a lady who ran for the U.S. Senate, she claimed that she should have received more votes because she actually drove down the street, walked down the street, went door to door after the election, and had people sign affidavits claiming that they had voted for her, and which that county election board did not record the votes. So that's how the lawsuit got started. And so that case, next date is coming up. And there is there's been a series of articles that have been released regarding this election. They're up to 8 now. And one of the title of one of the articles is titled, "She Won." They didn't just change the machines, they rewired the election. The latest article, which was released, I guess, a couple of weeks ago, is titled, "An Ex-CIA Whistleblower. The NSA audited the 2024 election. Kamala Harris won." And he claims that he was personally involved in the auditing of the election. And three of the subjects that is covered in that article is illegally copied software, decades of vulnerabilities, and installation of a backdoor to the voting machine software. So I think that information should be used in this case. So they're in the process of the discovery phase of gathering evidence.
Okay, so the
court date is coming up.
The court date. Do you know the exact date?
29th. They get their updates are giving at the website smartelections.us, smartelections.us.
Okay.
And also at their YouTube channel.
All right. Thank you for your call and for the information. Keep us abreast, James. Let me go to the activist extraordinaire in Chicago, my dear friend Pam. Pam, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Hello, Reverend Sharpton. I appreciate you, your family, and really all of the civil rights leaders because, you know, I believe Reverend Sharpton, including Reverend Jesse Jackson.
I was there Friday in Chicago. I went by to see him on Friday.
Yes, thank you. And I know his spirit is with us and his willing to want to do, and he's communicating what needs to happen to you and the rest of the leaders.
Right.
I wish we had his voice, and I know where he would stand on this issue of dealing with the adjudicated sexual abuser in the White House. And let me just say, Reverend Sharpton, he and his vice president stood at a debate and said that Haitian people were eating cats and dogs.
That's what he said.
If you vote for that, I can't have respect for you, and I will not. You do not share the same values or just the decency as a human being if you voted for that. And so I'm done with it. But what I wanted to let you know is that my donation is in supporting the protest march on Wall Street. And I don't say that to brag, Reverend Sharpton. I say that because I'm not a wealthy person. But I'm doing, well in life, but not wealthy, and hope to be that. But I'm saying that I hope to inspire people to send a donation, to join organizations. I mean, I ask women, do you really need another pair of shoes?
Right.
Do you really need another purse? I'm asking men, do you really need another tie? Or what? I mean, can you forego maybe going to a sporting event? I mean, we have to be willing to make the material sacrifices to shore up each and every organization that is out there doing the advocacy and the work and putting the lives on the line. I mean, if we can't do anything else, that is what is required in a time such as this. I don't want to live in a fascist country. I don't want to live under a dictator. I don't want to live under sexual predator's best friend, a child rapist's best friend. I do not want that for me, my children, or anyone in this country. That's why I'm fighting. Next, the previous caller talked about voting. It's important, Reverend Sharpton. I say this. When Kamala Harris, her book, 107 Days, she said she's going to go around the country talking and listening, not asking for anything in return. I ask that you at least meet with Greg Palast. Look at his evidence. 3.56 million people purged from rolls, given those provisional ballots that we don't even know if they're counted, and then just challenge at the rolls. It is worth her time and effort to listen to him, look at that investigation, that data. Because, Reverend Sharpton, I want all of us to get out and vote, and I understand too many of us stayed home. But those 3.56 million, almost 4 million, who wanted to vote and couldn't, we have to stand up for them too. And I'm asking her just to look at the information. Just look at it. Because I believe it is valid, and I believe, as he just stated, but for that voter suppression, we would have a Harris and Walz, and they will attempt to do it again. And lastly, Reverend Sharpton, I want to say this. And when I talk about donations, I'm saying let's shore up membership. Reverend Sharpton, to the Texas legislators who are here, do they feel like they're being supported by their own residents, but then also by those of us in the Democratic Party who want to make sure that they're successful, their voice is heard? So I need to know from you, do they feel like they're getting the support? What else would they want to see from people around the state to shore up that support? And then how can we just manifest it? Because we need to let them know we're disgusted. Greg Abbott, he should be challenged by every organization that claims to work with physically challenged people. Where is that community calling Greg Abbott to task? And yes, I'm saying, where is the community that work with people with physical challenges, other disabilities? Where is that organization, those organizations calling this Abbott to task? We need to hear from them, Reverend Sharpton. So I hope I've made my point. Thank you. Can't say enough. All of us, every person here and abroad globally has benefited from the work of our civil rights organizations, the legacy that is left. Reverend Dr. King, I'm not going to let those here in Chicago distort or co-opt his legacy of working for poor people, fighting for all people, humanity. I'm not going to let that happen. Thank you, Reverend Sharpton, and you are so appreciated, and the family of our civil rights leaders who sacrifice as well. I don't take it for granted. I do not. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back.
Taking a break.
Let's take a break, and we'll be right back. Let's take a break. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Stop going through your life like you are a co-star or a bit player in your own drama. No, you are the main star. You're the central figure in your life. What you decide is what is the major thrust of your life. And others may contribute, impact, affect, but it's your life that you're central in. So stop trying to lay the weight of what you do or don't do on others. That weight is squarely on your shoulders and in your hand. And if you want to defer and give your life choices to others, that smart. If they have any sense at all, they would be so busy trying to conduct and properly guide their life, they would not have time to try to major in your life.
And she said, son, even though we don't have much, we don't need relief. All we need is belief. And she said, he didn't tell you no lie, because the Lord will take care of you. God sits high, but he looks down low. And every time you get discouraged, every time you're burning down, all you have to do is think of the things that God made a way for. for you and look toward the heavens. Lift your eyes to the hills and say, God, 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 smile on me. Now then the God has smiled on me. He has set me free. God has smiled on me. That has been so good to me. Yes, he has. I say, God smile on me. He has set me free. And I know all over the country, smile on me. We need jobs. We need a way to make it. We need help. We need jobs. We need a way to make some money to feed our families and raise our bread. We need a way to survive, so we don't need crime as a survival kit. We just need a little bit. But don't give the hope up. Don't lose the faith, because God will smile on you. God will give you the strength. God will make a way for you. Adam Clayton Powell said, keep the faith. Keep the faith, baby. I hear Robert Kennedy saying that it's not the dream of, but it's the dream that'll live on forever. Just know that God will smile on you. Dr. King had a dream. Dr. King said, I went to the mountaintop, but I didn't stop there. I looked over and saw the promised land. I hear Brother Malcolm saying, don't sit on the stoop. Stand up and be a man. Respect yourself. Be somebody. Then I hear the brothers in the Hispanic community say, I'm going to stand up and be a man. I'm going to do the best I
am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. Let's go right back to the phones. Let's go to my friend, Mrs. Richardson in Chevy Chase, Maryland. Ms. Richardson.
Yes, good afternoon, my darling.
Good afternoon.
Yes, Brett. You know, the young lady was speaking about Trump. He's so right. But you see, the thing of it, what I'm trying to get across to everyone is that he should have been dealt with right from the beginning. You know, they knew he did 34 felonies. He was a sexual abuser. Okay, all that's true. So really, what I look at and what I'm pointing at is the Congress, the Senate. I'm pointing to them because they have allowed them to go in there. Why are we? I mean, we focus too much on this man. You know, it's going to give somebody a heart attack eventually. But what I'm saying is, we've got to look at the bigger. You know, it's like a jigsaw puzzle. I've been saying on the airways for years. And Red, you know, you and I go back, right?
Right.
And so, but you know, what I'm trying to express is this: is that it's years of how they work. You see, the European, I guess you could say the European nation or the European clan or whatever you want to say about white people, because they're all not bad. I'm not trying to say all white people are evil and this and that. But I'm trying to state is that the ones that control us all is like the lady was saying, your guest, this lady that came on, is that it's only a few that's running the country. You got Elon Musk, all his money. You got, you know, all these billionaires. They're the ones that set the standard for us. See, and there are people that do come on shows that's telling the nitty-gritty truth about how they are, you know, and how they want to keep us at the bottom, you know. And I think it's only just that we recognize that because, you know, because, see, it's tyranny, really. It's tyranny, and it's like the other lady was saying about being a dictatorship. Because now, you know, some people, when they get on some of these shows, because I listen to Baltimore sometimes, and you know, and usually the white callers are allowed longer time than the blacks. I mean, you know, and
yeah,
and
I think that I've detected some of that, but we've got to break through anyhow, Ms. Richardson. And you know, when I hear the disproportionate way that they treat us, and then I think about how we built movements and tore down slavery, and we didn't have a radio or even a social media in any way. We've come through tougher times than this and made it. We just got to toughen up.
That's right. Yeah, and you know, And you're right, Brett, because see, the Wall Street thing is a must, and I applaud you. I would be there too if I could get out, like with my husband, but his shape,
Right.
can't. But I'm saying that I wish I was there, with you, because see, you're right. And even if it doesn't work, I'm just, just saying about reality. If it does not work and they don't listen, because like I'm saying, they're working for the 1% themselves and people at Wall Street.
Yeah, they
And I'm
finance.
wondering.
That's right.
Yeah, you see, it's right. So what I'm saying is, I'm hoping that they take Black people serious because we do, we're with the voting thing, and they know the power base we have there. So if they ignore us, we can't, run in and take over because see, they have. In other words, I'm saying that they have ammunition and stuff to stop us. You see, that they don't worry about it. They don't worry about us either. They're not having heart attacks or anything. It's our people where they're having heart attacks and strokes and worrying about their next Social Security check. See, they don't care. Trump and that crowd. But I don't understand about the high power, and I hope he forgives me, whoever is in charge of the world. Why are the evil ones with money allowed to do this, prosper? They don't pass away. They live on and on till they're 90 and 100. I don't know why the evil ones go on and the good, like the lady used to sing a song, The Good Die Young.
Yeah.
I think she was a comedian. Remember the comedian, the woman that sang The Good Die Young?
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, and the lady, she was right. She was a comedian, elderly lady, but I liked her because she was right. And the good die young, and it's so sad. Malcolm, 39, Martin, 39. And I mean, see, and it's so sad because, and one more thing, because I think you said you're going to get around to it one day. You will confront this thing that clause that they have in the Constitution. You'll get around to it, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, because see, as long as that's in place, Trump, he looks at that. He's clever. He's an evil, clever manipulator, and he'll look at that and say, "Oh, look at this. Oh, this is right here for me to deal. Let me just go with that and that." See, he just see us as that anyway. They see Black under white. They don't see them as being equals. They see them being third, and Claude Anderson said they're seeing us as being fourth and fifth class citizens. So, second class citizens, I guess, that would go under other cultures, I guess. I don't know, the ones that's doing the best economically. See, they go about who's doing the best economically. What minority is doing the best. So you know who that is. You know who outnumbers us. So they're going to look at them and try to understand what their plight is. That's why I say we're in trouble because we don't even outnumber them now. Man, we're at below them. And so I don't know, because it seems like the Asians, they have a pretty good lobby. And these other people, see, Blacks don't have a lobby as strong as them. The people say we have, Black organizations, but they don't seem to have the power base like some of these other groups. But Rev, I love you, and I will try to call you Friday.
All right, I'll be looking for you Friday. Thank you for your call. Let's go to Carl in Palm Beach, Florida. Carl.
How you doing, big brother?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm thankful to the Creator. I was just curious as to whether or not you had designated a day to come.
Now, calling me on the radio is the wrong place to ask me that. Call the office. Carl, you know better than that. Let's go to Leon in Dallas, Texas. Leon, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Good afternoon, Reverend Al.
Good afternoon.
First of all, I want to compliment you. I saw your workout routine on your show a couple of weeks ago, and you are a real role model for how people should be healthy. Because in order to fight, you got to be able to swing. You got to be able to walk, and you showed then that your workout routine enables you to keep up that rigorous schedule, working 7 days a week. And I just want to compliment you on that, first of all.
I appreciate that. I believe in that every day. I get up and work out. I don't care if this morning I did more than Joe, 9 to 10. I went in, worked out tomorrow. I think I'm on 7 to 9. I'll get up a little early. I believe in, if I do it every day, I will not break that kind of commitment and discipline And I want to be an example to people about that. You got to stay on some discipline on a daily basis.
And you did a great job of that, because I remember years ago the difference between then and now.
Yep.
And it, as you say, it's a role model that if you can do it, other people can do it. Anybody can do it if you just, as you say, put your mind to it. You know, man, we told you so. We told you what Trump was going to do. We talked about fascist, Nazi, all this other stuff. But a year or so before the election. And now, you know, we told you so.
Right.
But when you have your march, I've been doing some numbers. I'm a numbers guy. I hope you remember when we had our little conversation in the men's lounge during your convention. You know, you should have 100,000 people marching just from New York alone. New York has 2 million African Americans.
That's right.
And so we need to go back to the civil rights strategy that got us where we are now, because they're trying to roll us back. So we need to roll back to how we with them, compel people to give us rights. You know, some they're more and so they came together, and it's before I be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave.
Right.
Well, it seems like now some of us have gotten comfortable, but we've forgotten about the rest of us.
Right.
You know, we forget about the neighborhoods that have the food deserts and the medical deserts and all these different deserts, because we don't live in those neighborhoods, because the civil rights movement enabled us to get a job and move out. And these people that are doing all this rollback stuff, this manifesto, this 2025 stuff that they're implementing, they're serious. And when we don't vote, I'm looking at a statistic from the Independent Voter Project. In Texas in particular, the Democrats outnumber the Republicans by 2 million registered voters. So what's keeping you from voting, even if you don't want to stand up on a podium and speak? What's wrong?
Right.
This is, as you said before, your network is National Action Network. We have to take action to counter the action that these other folks, these fascists and these Nazis and these, you know, whatever they want to call themselves, neocons or whatever, are doing directly against black folks. And until we take action, we can't, you know, it's not going to come out the sky. You know, some people say, oh, I'll just do this and that and the other, and something will save me. Well, that's not what got us where we're at. What got us where we're at was action. We either had to fight a war, or we had to have a civil rights war, or something. We took action.
That's right.
And I see too many people who just want to sit down and hide behind, you know, religion or whatever, instead of taking action, even if it's just voting. And, you know, I just would like to see us come together. We're going to have to come together, because these actions that this Trump administration is taking are just cutting us to pieces. And you're the only one that's really nationally standing up. I'm wondering what's wrong. When are the rest of these so-called leaders going to get some spine about themselves and come together and say, okay, we're going to stand, and we got enough resources to where, as Doc would say, if I didn't send for you, don't come for me. You know, I'm going to protect ourselves. We're not going to allow these forces to say, okay, we're going to intimidate you into not standing up for yourself. What do you think about that?
No, I think that you're right on. I think that if we don't, first of all, I think it's the height of naivety to not stand up for yourself and expect people to stand up for you when you're not standing up for yourself. So as always, Leon, you right on target. And I do remember talking to you at our convention, the men's room. You are a numbers man, and the numbers say exactly what you say. Thank you for your call. Now, I've got two people calling, texting me, saying, when you gonna come to my city? That's why I cut call off. Please don't call me. First of all, I'm sitting on radio for 3 hours. I'm not sitting here with a schedule. That's somewhere down the hall. To call me and ask me about a schedule on the air just ain't fair. So I appreciate it. I'm trying to come to everybody. I love everybody. I certainly promise Carl I'm coming there. But to ask me when I'm doing a date, when I'm sitting here doing a radio show, like I'm sitting up here with a schedule book, is just not fair. Now you got everybody asking me, and I can't do that. Let's take a break. Be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back. Keep it real.
Of reference. 400 years later, it's time to do some assessing where we came from. While Alabama, Georgia, and South Carolina, and Mississippi take the hits, the real trade market for commerce and cotton was New York. The port of New York. As a matter of fact, Joe, the first state to end slavery was Vermont. It was all the way up the coast. The big shipbuilders became enriched off of our enslavement. Say our people are not slaves, they are our ancestors. They made you slaves, the person, they're our ancestors, they're our foreparents. The money is made off of the commodity. We were the commodity in the commodity exchange. And they would import Africans, they export cotton and tobacco. And they built the whole economic system around Wall Street. Africans, because they feared the Indians would attack the Dutch, built a wall on Wall Street. That's what they named it Wall Street. It's the Africans, with logs and trees, built a wall around Wall Street, keep the Indians from attacking the Dutch. So Wall Street was named after us. There's a burial ground on Wall Street, which we should all visit. Those are our foreparents. At some point, they moved us to the other end of Manhattan, which is Harlem. So we are on the same island as Manhattan. Manhattan, Harlem, Wall Street, on the same island. Harlem is right down the road from Wall Street. That's interesting that most of our leaders, who all get different cases, never quite got to march on Wall Street.
That was Reverend Jesse Jackson speaking at National Action Network's House of Justice in 2020, saying that we ignored dramatizing, putting the spotlight on the economic inequalities, the economic issues of this country by never having marched on Wall Street en masse. Well, on August 28th, 5 years later, we're going to do just that. Because with this big, beautiful bill, which is a big, ugly bill that cuts Medicaid and SNAP, with the ending of diversity, equity, and inclusion programs and initiatives in the private sector, which gives blacks and others jobs, contracts for businesses, making sure we make the C-suite based on our merit and not excluded because we didn't have the family background in a given place, whether it be academic or business. The people that benefited from that are the ones on Wall Street that deal with the stock markets, that deal with the Dow Jones, that deal with making trade off of the decisions of those that supported the Trump initiatives in this area. So we are not this year going to Washington on the anniversary of the March on Washington. On the anniversary of the March on Washington, we're going to Wall Street. And Reverend Jackson, we're going to do what you said. Thousands of us are going to non-violently but firmly come and say that the dream cannot be deferred by tax cuts for the rich and cutting those out that need food assistance, that need support with health care and other economic policies that have choked the middle class and the poor. August 28, 2025, go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net, get the details. Meet us 10 a.m. at the African Burial Ground and be ready to march. Buses are coming from all over the country. Go to that website or call 1-877-626-4651. No justice, no peace.
It's been a long time coming, but I know.
1968, Dr. Martin Luther King was killed in Memphis, Tennessee. And it has been the commitment of National Action Network to always, in the month he was killed, to let them know they killed the dreamer.
Because I have a dream today.
When they came for the dream.
rights leader, the Reverend Al.
Pull back up. Yep.
You're live.
Keeping it real, keeping it real. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we are back. 1-877-532-5797, and we will be going right back to the phones and to the message board on our National Action Network live stream page, 1-877-532-5797. And let me repeat again that we want everybody to express themselves. Gregory Jackson says, speak truth and purpose. And I absolutely agree. Most people don't really ever come to face what is their purpose. I do morning thoughts on my Instagram every morning before dawn, and right before I work out and after I work out. And I urge people all the time to seek your purpose. I mean, why are you on earth? You know, you're not here because God didn't have nothing else to do. You're here to serve a purpose, serve a reason. And your reason is not my reason is not yours. But everything, your background, my background, your training, my training, your mentoring, all of that was to first serve a purpose. And I think a lot of us live beneath our privilege and never establish peace with ourselves because we never seek our purpose. So, Gregory Jackson, you're right. Speak truth and purpose. I was looking at Rufus, the seer and son of Yah, says the Reverend Jesse Jackson is one of the greatest men that have ever lived. Any time the far right and the far left hate you, then you're doing something right. Well, Rufus, the seer, son of Yah, I like a lot of what you said, but you really touched me that, as most of you know, Reverend Jackson has been a central figure in my life, one of my major, if not the major mentors. In fact, Friday when I went to Chicago from Martha's Vineyard to speak for the Randolph Institute's convention, I went by to see Reverend Jackson, who's, suffering with Parkinson's, could barely speak. But a lot of what I have become and can do is because of him. And I think that if there ever was someone, in my judgment, that has not been given the due and credit that he deserves, is Reverend Jesse Jackson. So it warms my heart to say that, to hear you say that, and to know others out there feel the way I feel. And I'm not just saying it because I was around him and mentored by him since I was 12 years old. I'm saying it because history will show he has made a real difference. All right, let's go to the phones. Miss Jones in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, WURD. Miss Jones.
You're so kind, Reverend. Thanks so much for taking my call. I don't like to call twice in 1 week.
That's all right.
But and my prayers go out to Reverend Jackson and his family. Yes, he's given us so much. I understand that this is for you, Pam. The convicted felon, twice impeached, 34 criminal charges, accused rapist, and all of that, and maybe a pedophile at this point. I never known him to have a vision or even a dream. But what I understand that he wants these institutions, namely the Smithsonian, to carry out his vision. We don't need that kind of vision The only vision I understand that he has displayed to the American people, lied to us over 32,000 times. And I think his university had to be closed down because of improper handling of funds or what have you there. But to say that wants this country, who has never been founded on or operated on one man's vision, and the man just happens to be a convicted felon. So this vision thing, it's just about words, because he doesn't even know what it means, and that's why I had to call, because what vision? I've never known him to have a vision other than for himself. He can put all the gold he wants in that White House, but until he deals with his own heart, he will not be changed. And one final thing, because there are so many other things, Katie Turr on her show, I saw it briefly today, asked, why do we talk about race? How can we have a balance? Well, we can start by not electing racist people such as the one in the White House now, as well as his chief of staff, is a racist, and he came right out and say he wants this country to be all white. So this one is for her, and I did call to leave a message, but we really do not a shot.
But wait a minute, help me with that now. She said, why can't we be balanced? What I don't understand.
I know, I'm sorry, because I'm moving quickly. She was interviewing a guest, and she said, why is it that we have to always be talking about race, and I don't have it verbatim. How can we create a balance? And back in, to be honest with you, and rehear what I heard. Mm-hmm. But the takeaway for me was she was asking, why is it so much talk about race? Because of what we're experiencing now. As a matter of fact, he has put race at the top of our list because of the way he's handling our people, and as you said, and we have to really stand up for this madness. So that's my understanding that I got from what she said. Why do we have to continue to talk about race? We have to continue to talk about race. It's simply because we have now racist people in the White House who doesn't care about all people, and we've never had to have a president who really was so uncaring to the American people. Mm-hmm. And we really have to know. I'm so sorry. Someone is at my door. Thank you so much, young man. You can leave that for me. Thank you. Take care. Thank you. Mm-hmm. So really, what I'm saying, he has made race more, it's more critical to talk about race. So that's why we cannot, not talk about it now. But most importantly, don't elect someone who doesn't believe in the American dream, because this vision to create a Smithsonian without creating a history of all people in America is not a vision at all. And he's never had a vision, and he never had a dream. Blessings. I'm sorry about that little interruption. God bless.
All right, bless you, and thank you for your call. Let's go to David in San Francisco. David.
Oh, yeah. How are you, Reverend? Yeah, noisy San Francisco. I'm on a bicycle downtown, so I can barely hear you through the wind. But, I was interested in your March on Wall Street. San Francisco's got the West Coast Wall Street. So I was wondering, do you have an adjunct that's going to be happening here?
I am talking to some people that we, in fact, I think that the last call on that for the West Coast is this evening. So listen tomorrow, and I'll let you know what they're going to do, those that can't come all the way from the West Coast.
Yeah, good deal. Yeah, I was going to say, years ago, I was working with the Ralph Nader campaign, and we would make a point to go through, the Wall Street elevators and lobbies and whatnot and talk about Nader. And the conservatism that you would get during Bush and Reagan and whatnot would somewhat fall apart when you started talking about logic. Mm-hmm. And logic like, do you really want a dangerous nuclear power plant? Or like the state of Texas right now is putting themselves in huge danger because Governor Abbott just signed a bill to say that fracking water can now be used in Texas agriculture.
What? Wait a minute. Hold on a minute, David. Hold on a minute. I got to take my break. I want to hear this. Hold on a minute. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back. Good morning. One of the real goals in life, and I want you to think about this, is to fulfill your mission and continue to work on it until you fulfill it. And at the same time, be able to find real pride and fulfillment in being you. Somewhere along life's path, you must be committed and determined to fulfill your purpose and mission in life. And along that journey, you become completely proud. I mean, inwardly proud of who you are and who you've become. That self-fulfillment and pride can only come when you have the courage to confront the truths about you. It takes courage to really face the truth about what your self-doubts and insecurities and need of validations. Where does all that come from? Face your weaknesses, your tendency to mentally and therefore in real life wander away from. And once you confront the truths about you, it'll make you stronger and clearer to fulfill your purpose and mission. And you will have a peace and a self-empowered position that is more valuable than anything in life. Set that as your goal, to be purpose-driven, mission-oriented, and face even the ugly truths about you so you can minister to those weaknesses, failings, and become proud of who you are and what and who you've become. For 90 days, they're going to do a study of what companies have pulled out of DI and what companies have a small margin of profit. And we in 90 days are going to announce the 2 companies that we're going after. And we're going to ask everybody in this country, black, white, brown, gay, straight, woman, trans, don't buy where you are not respected. Donald Trump can't make us buy your stuff. The Senate can't make us buy your stuff. In the name of Dr. King, we're going to do what Dr. King did. Trump tweeted the other week, I'm a con man. Don't call me the coin man. I'm going to stop the coins from dropping in the wrong place. Do I seem excited? I am excited because this Saturday, the National Action Network Saturday Action Rally starts live on WBLS 107.5 FM in New York. We're going to expand. Every Saturday morning, we're live on WBLS 107.5 from 10 a.m. to 11. You'll hear the message. You'll feel the energy. You'll be involved. You won't be sitting around talking about, oh my God, look at what's happening. You'll be involved in dealing with what's happening. I'm excited, and you should be excited to turn on WBLS 10 a.m. every Saturday morning. I have a message for you. And if you want to, you can come to the House of Justice and be there live. 145th Street and Lenox Avenue. We kick off at 9, and we don't stop until we deal with getting our people energy.
I want to ask you a question, and that is, what is in your life's blueprint? This is the most important and crucial period of your lives, for what you do now and what you decide now at this age may well determine which way your life shall go. And whenever a building is constructed, you usually have an architect who draws a blueprint. And that blueprint serves as the pattern, as the guide, as the model for those who are to build the building. And a building is not well erected without a good, sound, and solid blueprint. Now each of you is in the process of building the structure of your lives. And the question is whether you have a proper, a solid, and a sound blueprint. And I want to suggest some of the things that should be in your life's blueprint. Number one in your life's blueprint should be a deep belief in your own dignity, your own worth, and your own somebodyness. Don't allow anybody to make you feel that you are nobody. Always feel that you count. Always feel that you have worth. And always feel that your life has ultimate significance.
Thank you for joining us for Weekdays Live with Reverend Al Sharpton. Take the time to share this broadcast right now. Tell your friends it's time to keep it real with Reverend Al. Comment your questions now in the chat or call Reverend Al Sharpton directly on air at 877-532-5797. Now stay tuned for Reverend Al.
This is Reverend Al Sharpton. As you watch the broadcast, support National Action Network. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and be involved. You can join, take your membership right online, www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Getting ready to start the program. 1-877-532-5797. Let's go back to David in San Francisco. Go ahead, David.
Oh, thanks, Robert. Yeah, the what I was talking about, apparently that insane governor of Texas signed a bill in June to say that fracking water can be now used in agriculture. And if you know about fracking, the idea is they want to put some kind of nasty chemical deep in the earth to melt the rocks, and then that'll cause those rocks to discharge a gas that'll burn. Well, that's got to end up with a pretty poisonous aftermath. And so they end up with water that they flush through the whole system, and they want to use that water in agriculture in Texas. So I would think that if the governor of Texas is trying to pretend that he's looking out for the people, he's not only not looking out for the people of Texas, but he's not looking out for the people of America that have got to buy off of Texas-grown agriculture. So I would wonder if an idea like boycotting Texas agriculture might be a good part of the March on Wall Street.
Yeah, I think that, we have some people coming from some areas where they're dealing with some of the pipeline issues and jobs. And then you've got the debate on the environmental side. And then you've got those that are fracking. And one of the things that are dealing with the fracking issue that's coming up in many states, one of the things that concerns me is that we cannot, in the name of jobs, let them poison us. And we cannot, in the name of being too far out there, not address the concerns about jobs. I think the way you're handling it, at least in this discussion, is the right way. We need to educate people and talk to them. A lot of times, I've told environmental groups that don't come off like we elitists, like you're talking down to people. Talk to people about what the concerns are so that cannot be deviated by people because of what appears to be livelihood could affect your health and the health of your family. So I thank you for how you brought that to us, David. Thank you for your call. Let me read from our message page. Gregory Jackson is saying, our past successful entertainer had white audiences, but they sent their money to black causes. And he's saying is Steve Harvey and others sending their money to black causes. O.G. Kelly is saying they are there to keep us laughing and dancing and not focused on politics and current events. I don't know the whole thread of this because I'm working the phones and this, but I do, let me jump in the middle of the thread and say that I do not see as much of the entertainment world involved in causes to the degree I saw them when I was coming up. And Gregory Jackson is saying entertainers can create synergy. As a people, our music brings us together, and that's true. And we always knew the committed artists. We always knew the artists that would say, I'm not going all the way out there, but I'm going to send money and I'll lend what I can. But today, it is seemingly like many of our artists, including young ones, try to stay as distant as they can from the movements and from voting and advocating for voting. It is like, let me finish with Gregory Jackson said, we're the entertainers of this generation, like the Impressions, the Gil Scott-Herons, the James Brown, those rappers who have the ears and attention of young people. I know they're here. And I think part of the problem, Gregory, and I can do a whole show on this, is unlike when I was coming along, you had black-owned record companies, Berry Gordy, Motown, Al Bell, Stax, Dick Griffey, Solar Records, Total Experience, on and on and on. And Gamble and Huff, Philadelphia International. I mean, you name them. Today, you have 3 or 4 major white corporate entities that own all of the record companies, and as important, owns the live streaming and the airwaves, because they've snuffed out a lot of black music. So they can shut down or put up or allow up whatever they want. That's why I remember in 2005 or 6, when Michael Jackson came to us at the House of Justice and started talking about they were trying to take his masters and how they was locking down his voice. He's the biggest pop star in the history of the business. In terms of cultural impact, nobody has equaled Michael. And they were shutting him down. I mean, nobody. I tell my daughters, Michael Jackson was like Taylor Swift and Beyonce put together. He could go to anywhere in the world and kids was imitating him. Now, I'm not putting down Beyonce or Taylor Swift, but I'm talking about the cultural impact. And I think that we silently allowed, or by being silent, we allowed people to take our music and our culture from us. And when we were looked up, it was gone. And we didn't own it or operate it anymore. That's why people like Kathy Hughes and others that have held on, the Word radio station in Philadelphia, what they're doing there is the last of the defense of the minds of our people. And they're struggling just to survive, and we won't support them. We won't tell people to advertise with them. If we didn't have a Word in Philly, then how would our community get the raw truth? We didn't have some of what Kathy Hughes is doing around the country. Where would it come from? And I think that it is extremely important that a lot of what shaped my generation's mind was we had the radios and the record companies that would educate us and empower us. Like Tom Joyner, you're right, Frederick McLeod. And it is now gone more the other way. And I think that it is a detriment to our community and a detriment to those artists who eventually will be targeted by the same system that they help to put everybody to sleep and not fight. They coming after them too. It's like I tell entertainers all the time, someone come to me like Nicodemus at midnight in the dark, and I tell them, they ain't after me, they after us. They will try to come get me so I can't defend you. Very interesting, somebody brought that up. Let's take a break, be right back. Keeping it real, Sharpton, 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. Be right back.
Who is Sharpton anyway? Who is this 33-year-old preacher without a church?
A number of black New Yorkers as well. He is little more than a pudgy exhibitionist who can be counted on to show up, bullhorn in hand, at every racial incident.
I often quote Mark Twain saying, the 2 most important moments in life is the moment you are born and the moment you find out why you were born. I had a very troubling conversation the other day that prompted me to do this little video. Young man that I've known a while came to me and he was crushed. I mean, really crushed, because people were criticizing his work. He's in the ministry, but he's also an actor. And he said he couldn't understand why people were jumping all over, criticizing him, trying to find scandalous and derogatory things about him. And I told him, I said, you know, you very young. You don't know the road I've traveled. They call me everything but a child of God.
Racial discord, a blabbermouth, a loudmouth, too flamboyant, an agitator, a racist,
and
a race baiter.
Yeah, right. I was not defined by how others saw me. I was defined by how I saw myself and whether I was being true to myself. Some of you watching this don't like me. And it doesn't matter as long as I know what I'm doing. And I like me for being real. So I'm doing this video to say to you, whoever you are and whatever you do, you may not be in ministry or social justice, none of this stuff, but don't live your life worried about opposition or people that don't like you. You can turn that around. Use me as an example. The same people that call me a scam artist, a con artist, a sellout, or racial hustling, I kept going. And the people I respected started respecting and publicly embracing my work.
When Coretta Scott King, the widow of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., had this to say about Al Sharpton.
A leader who has protested injustice with a passionate, unrelenting commitment to nonviolent action in the spirit and tradition of Martin Luther King Jr. And I am talking about your leader, our leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
The other thing that hasn't changed is the National Action Network's commitment to fight injustice and inequality here in New York City and across America. And that's not only a testament to Reverend Sharpton, it's a testament to all of you who are here tonight.
First and foremost, to Reverend Sharpton. I saw him when he first came on the scene, and I have marveled at his tenacity, at the development of his intellect, and his devotion to our movement, and much he has contributed to the world we are experiencing. I am honored, and I must say that when I had my debate with Dr. King on the issue of the church and religion, he didn't warn me that after his departure, his space would be filled by another preacher, and that preacher would be Al Sharpton.
All you want in life is people that matter to you to say you did all right. And more important, that you can look in the mirror and say you did all right.
Thank you, Rev. Thanks for that introduction. Look, we've known each other for a long time. I'm grateful not only for your leadership and partnership, but quite frankly, more importantly, for your friendship. And thanks to all of you, members of our nation's most important civil rights organization.
You have been, over all of your years, such an extraordinary leader. You are a voice of truth, a voice of conscience, a voice of practicality around what we must address and what we can.
All you want in life is people that matter to you to say you did all right. And more important, that you can look in the mirror and say you did all right.
Thank you, Rev. Thanks for that introduction. Look, we've known each other for a long time. I'm grateful not only for your leadership and partnership, but quite frankly, more importantly, for your friendship. And thanks to all of you, members of our nation's most important civil rights organization.
You have been, over all of your years, such an extraordinary leader. You are a voice of truth, a voice of conscience, a voice of practicality around what we must address and what we can do. And I thank you so much for your friendship.
I remember that most of the youth around Al's age, he was about 12, wanted to be like Connie Hawkins, a great basketball player, legend, or Earl the Pearl, or Clyde Frazier. Al wanted to be like Adam Powell, a powerful preacher with a social justice gospel. He was very close to, at that time, the Reverend William Augustus Jones, powerful preacher and social justice advocate, and Reverend Gardner Taylor State right down the street, and Bishop Washington, whose church he came from, and Reverend Sandy Ray. He wanted to be like these giant preachers. He wanted them to have the edge, however, of the King's social justice dimension. He wanted to be like them. Now he's one of them. Perhaps taller than most of them because of the risks he has taken and the reward God has given him with his gift. I remember so well that I first escorted him to jail. He was around 13 years old. With the jail fighting the ANP. He was in the lineage of our struggle. He grew up in it. We didn't just see him on TV one night. He didn't happen. He came bottom up, not top down.
Hello, New Orleans. Let me tell you straight. They did not think we could come and be here tonight. They cut budgets and advertising, but one black man, Rich New Dennis, said, I don't care. My families come together every 4th of July weekend, and Essence will happen, because that's who we are. Give a big hand to Rich New Dennis for bringing us back. Why do we come? Because the essence of who we are is essential to what made this nation. We built this nation. We made this nation. We created the essential dollars that this nation lives off of. We don't care what bill they pass. We will not back up. We will not back down. We will not give in. We will not be chased.
Reverend Al Sharpton,
we don't
we're
care
back.
who's in the White House.
1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Let's go back to the phone. Let's go to Raj in Cleveland, Ohio. Raj, send me that clip. Just the clip.
Hey, Rev, thanks for taking my call.
Thank you for calling.
I know when I was a little boy, when right after Martin Luther King got, when he got assassinated, and then when the 70s hit, I was like 5 years old, but, all through that point in time growing up, the other day you had I forgot who was on T-Right, you were talking about the footprint that's left behind from the movement and everything. You're talking about New York at that time, I think. There was no footprint left behind from those who was involved in the civil rights movement and stuff.
Right.
And I thought about when I was growing up when you said that, and that's true. That's how when I was growing up, all I knew, not that I liked it, but the only thing I got out of black culture at that time was like comedy. I know Richard Pryor was real big and cracking jokes, playing dozens, when I was going to school, and fighting and stuff. And it was like when I got older, the only little thing I do remember when I was in junior high school, they would play Martin Luther King, some of his clips over the speaker in the morning before, doing the homeroom. But other than that, it wasn't much, running footprints other than, I mean, my mother had this picture of Martin Luther King when I was a little boy, that famous picture of his, and I didn't even know who he was. And my mother never told me who he was, but she had it hanging up, and I remember his eyes used to look so alive. It looked like he was really staring at me and looking and following me across the room when I was only like 5 years old, and I'd go back and forth. And but anyway, I'm saying all that to say I didn't realize nothing in the 70s really, and it wasn't until the 80s that I started really knowing how what really was going on to a degree. You know, I know about the riots because Cleveland had two riots where the National Guard had come in. And I think we was the only city that had where the National Guard to come in twice. And that's part of why I believe Cleveland is so suppressed, as a matter of fact. But yeah.
No, but you know,
then
I think what you raised, and we've been talking about this the last few minutes, is very important. I think this is one of the reasons why they want to take Black history out of the schools and ban it, because the more they can disconnect us from our struggles, and that there are no footprints for us to follow, the less they have to do to worry about us, and they will just do whatever they want to us, and we won't know no better. Our children will not know how to fight because they take all the fighters out of history, and those that are left, they try to, in many ways, destroy their character and their reputation. So you don't want to be like that. Or they'll say they're old school and outdated. So you don't want to be like that because everybody wants to be the young, fresh thing. And it's a methodical plan to disarm us while they take, not only in America, but the minerals and all in Africa, where it happens all over the world to people of color. That those that believe in white supremacy have a plan. Project 2025 was 800 pages. These people are not playing. They have a plan, and part of the destabilizing of our community will usher in the hand of a small element that wants an oligarchy in this country against blacks and whites. Don't think they're going to treat their own better. You still with me, Rod? I don't hear Rod.
I'll get it on real quick.
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, Reverend. And one more thing I want to say that a lot of we talking about the rappers and stuff, and the young folks. They think that I think the reason why they don't want to get involved really in the movement and stuff is because they associate this kind of fight with begging and complaining that you don't have. Because I talked to some of them, and they associate the struggle with being poor, and they look at it like they want to hustle, which okay, that's fine, and get theirs. So to them, that's overcoming. And the reason why I'm saying that because I've talked to a few of them before. That's why I wanted to go around and register people to vote, young people, so I could talk to them. And because I heard a lot of them talking about Trump, how they like Trump and stuff, and I want to basically like clear it up for them of how they're confused and how they need to look at this and what's really going on and connect dots for them so that they could get an understanding. I've done that. That's why I know I can accomplish that because I've talked to people and changed their mind where they saw where, I made the connections for them where they could see things more clear and get a better understanding. But, I think that's what the rappers and the entertainers, the ones that don't want to get involved, is because they look at it like that's tarnishing their rep, and they want to appear to be infallible, and they don't need to fight or struggle or identify with, those that's fighting and getting involved in that kind of way.
And yet, when they get in trouble, they want people to fight. See,
yeah.
What I try to tell them is, you don't want to get involved in the fight until you are the subject of what the next fight is about. Then you want to know why ain't the community standing up behind you.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And
yeah,
you can't have it both ways.
That's true. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say. I had to go now, but thanks for taking my call.
Thank you for your call, and I think that it is important that we understand that we're not chastising the rappers or the actors and others of today. We are them. I think that we're wanting them for their own good. And it is imperative that they understand it before they understand it. And I think that's very, very important. We educate. You know, I look at it more as an educating our people, our young people, than chastising, because I don't chastise them because a lot of them don't know no better because they was never told any better. And unfortunately, a lot of us that are older, my generation, didn't want to tell the young people what we went through with some perverted notion that, well, we've arrived now, there's no reason to go, all of that. We want our young people to be aspirational, not inspirational. But if they don't know how they got in a position to be aspirational, then what's going to happen when you have somebody come with the backlash to our generation, which did happen in the person of Donald J. Trump? They won't know what to do. You got to realize that an 18-year-old person thinks it is normal that we had a black president. Because black president was, this is 25, Barack Obama left office in 2021, right? In 20, yeah. The 2020 race was Hillary and, the 2020 race was Biden. So that's, Donald Trump came in 17, which means that President Obama left office in 19, which was 7 years ago. And if I'm 18 years old, I was 11 years old. For the first 11 years of my life, or most of them, 8 of my first 11 years, was a black president. So I have no idea that wasn't normal unless somebody trains me, unless somebody teaches me. They grew up in a different world. So my generation, I was not the generation of John Lewis and them to get beaten on the Edmund Pettus Bridge, but I was a 9, 7, 8-year-old kid watching them get beat. So I knew what the price was paid, and then began paying the price myself in New York. These kids were born with the results of the price. And I think that this is crazy. And that's what we got to deal with. All right, let me thank all of you that called in, listened in, you that called in and couldn't get through, but hung in there anyhow. Remember, whatever you do, wherever you go, however you feel, tell somebody, tell anybody, tell everybody. Reverend Al told you personally, keep it real. Keep it real. Keep it real. Talk to you tomorrow. What's our sign-up number?
The issues, the stories affecting you. Now here's the news.
Oh, do I seem excited? I am excited because this Saturday, the National Action Network Saturday Action Rally starts live on WBLS 107.5 FM in New York. We're going to expand. Every Saturday morning, we're live on WBLS 107.5 from 10 a.m. to 11. You'll hear the message. You'll feel the energy. You'll be involved. You won't be sitting around talking about, oh my God, look at what's happening. You'll be involved in dealing with what's happening. I'm excited, and you should be excited too. Turn on WBLS, 10 a.m. every Saturday morning. I have a message for you. And if you want to, you can come to the House of Justice and be there live. 145th Street and Lenox Avenue. We kick off at 9, and we don't stop until we deal with getting our people energized.